This week on NinteNDomain, we talk about Nintendo arcades and other arcades.
More specifically, Galloping Ghost.
Galloping Ghost. Welcome to NinteNDomain. We are your hosts, myself, Trey Johnson.
How's it going? It's me, Jared Mikowski.
And we are here together in person.
We are sitting on the same sofa.
No hiss this time. We are recording live. No Skype hiss.
Now we can look at each other while we interrupt each other.
It's true.
I apologize if I sniff a lot. I've been given a really bad microphone.
All right, wait our date our podcast there. And today we have Trump. I just want to tell you, I ran the best business. No Trump impressions on this show. We want people to still listen to this. So yeah, we did. What did we do today? We went to an arcade in whatever the fuck it is.
Brookfield, Illinois.
In Brookfield, Illinois. I get them all confused. There's like Oak Brook and Brookfield and Brooktown and like Lakeland. I think it's one of them.
I visited Brookfield a few times when I was growing up because there's a zoo there.
There's a zoo there. We drove past it on the way there.
I don't much like the zoo. Last time I was there, all the animals seemed kind of miserable. It was also like dead in the middle of summer. Well, like a 95 degree.
The monkeys were mad.
The monkeys were too depressed to throw shit. It was bad.
They wouldn't even throw their shit. They were so angry. So angry they didn't throw shit. No, it's a arcade that I've been to before. It seems to have expanded over the years. I think I was there like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. It's like a maze. It's very easy to get lost in there.
Right, so we went in there, and I'm not sure, was that the owner that you were speaking with when we first went in, or was that just an employee?
Yeah, that's Doc Mack. That was the owner.
Cool, yeah.
That I talked to. I wanted to mention that I had talked to him at that expo, but I didn't. I was going to be like, hey, I talked to you for a second at that arcade video game room expo. He probably doesn't remember, but I don't know. He seemed very...
You could have given him a card.
He seemed very enthusiastic. You could have given him a card,
well,
too.
You know where to find him now.
You had a card. You could have given him a card.
Trey mentioned to him that there was an arcade he wanted to play previously.
There was.
And when he was there last May, not this previous May, but a year ago May, he was unable to play this arcade, and he was mentioning it to the owner of the arcade.
Oh, I just asked him if there were cabinets that were inaccessible. Because the first time I went there, well, the first and only time I went there, before this time, I wanted to play the Spider-Man arcade game, and I was unable to do it because it was in their expansion wing that was being worked on, so it was inaccessible. But it was accessible this time, and I played the whole way through it.
But according to the owner, there had been several expansions since Trey had last been in there. Something like 3, didn't he say?
Yeah, he told me that when I talked to him at the arcade expo. I think I said the same thing there too. I was like, last time I was there, like part of the stuff wasn't accessible and you were expanding then. And then he's like, oh yeah, we're expanding again now.
Can you tell me what you did with the Spider-Man arcade? That's the whole reason I came here.
Just tell me where it is, please.
This place is huge. I went in and I was just, I don't know, I was in awe of just a huge room full of arcades, the ambient sounds of all these different games.
The ambient sounds of 100 arcades, making noises at the same time.
Imagine if you fill the baseball stadium, instead of with fans, there are just a bunch of arcade games and seats.
Just saying like weird stuff. It's weird because some of them are loud and some of them aren't loud. Like when we were playing with a Spider-Man game, like there was like no sound from that. But like the arcade behind us was like, ah! Like so loud.
It was loud. Some were really incredibly loud.
This guy was playing it and I just kept hearing like all this like screaming, or it sounded like cats were getting killed or something, whatever he was doing back there.
Oh, that was Cat Killer 85.
Just all these noises just like, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, and they're all in different states or all in different conditions, so some of them have more worn out screens than others, so you get a nice bright
Did you play Street Fighter 1? Did you play that one?
No.
Cause their screen was awesome. It looked like it was made out of water. Cause it did this the whole time.
Oh, really?
It like constantly shook. It looked like it was made out of water, and it was just like rippling up and down. It was pretty hypnotic, actually. Whatever's going on with the screen, I don't know.
Well, these are old ass CRT screens, so I imagine.
But yeah, it was doing like the, you know, when you have the flashbacks in the old movies, the Wayne's World, the diddly diddly, it looked like that. I mean, that game's awful, but it looked pretty cool.
There was a game called In the Hunt. I didn't play it. It was a submarine game, but it had actual water.
Oh, yeah?
In the top of it with a little toy submarine.
Oh, nice.
Which was really interesting.
Made sure and took pictures of In the Hunt.
Yeah, I looked inside. They had some nice fish tank rocks in it and a little bit of moss growing on the rocks.
There was some game that I was playing that looked cool. It kind of looked like the sequel to Space Harrier, sort of, but like better. And you were in like this big like hovercraft type thing on the water. It's called like Aqua something or other.
Oh, anyway. Hydro Thunder?
No, not Hydro Thunder. It's older than that. It was cool though. You were like, you like had there was like a gas pedal and you could go faster and you're like shooting planes out of the sky like kind of as you would with Space Harrier, except you're in this big like fucking air floating thing. That was cool. I had fun with that. That was over in the section by like that Metal Gear game, which I couldn't figure out how to play.
I guess I don't really know where to begin. Topically, I guess we could start out with the Nintendo arcades we played. If we can kind of remember those. Because there were several Nintendo branded arcades there.
Sure. I figured we would just talk about which games we played.
I will say that I didn't get to hop on Donkey Kong because there was a different person on that. There was always someone wanting to get on the Donkey Kong machine.
Oh, there was somebody playing.
It's possible, you know, if I would have waited patiently, I could have hopped on it. But yeah, there's all the Donkey Kong machines. There's Donkey Kong Jr., and Donkey Kong 3. There was the first Mario Brothers.
It's Aquajack.
Oh, Aquajack.
That game was fun.
That looks pretty cool.
That was a fun game.
So it's all sprite based.
Yeah, it's
little
fun.
Node 7 action.
It's fun. It is cool. I liked it a lot.
Not New Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers Versus.
We played New Super Mario Bros. No, oh yeah, I didn't see Versus there.
Yeah, I played that for a little while. I love that game.
What is
so strange playing Mario with the joystick?
What is different? What is different with Versus than the normal Mario?
Well, I'll tell you. What I noticed was power-ups were in different places in the first couple of levels. For instance, 1-1, there's no mushroom, or there's no 1-up mushroom in that hidden spot after the first 3 pipes. There was not a fire flower directly across the pit. It was just bricks. And the Invincible Star was in the same spot. So that was the first level. It was mostly the same.
It's roughly the same game, but what does the verse have to do with it? Is that a multi component?
I'm not sure why. I think that was just a series of arcades they made, and they were called the Versus arcades.
Well, yeah, but like Excite Bike Verse, that was a multiplayer game.
Well, yeah, so I guess it was a multiplayer game because there were 2 sets of joysticks on it. But I still think that the Versus might have been just a type of cabinet because there was a Castlevania one too.
Castlevania Verse?
Yeah, it wasn't there, but I've seen it online before.
I thought I saw one, but it wasn't working. I swear I saw a Castlevania Verse cabinet there, but it wasn't on.
Oh, well that's possible.
Because I was like, I wonder what that is, but it wasn't, there was no light on, so I couldn't play it.
I was most excited to play, once I saw it, I was really excited to play the Namco Mario Kart.
You played that before, right? Or
I've never played it before.
You never played it?
No.
Oh, I played it a bunch of times. They have it at like Dave & Buster's and like, I thought we went to, didn't we go to?
I've never played it.
I thought you went to GameWorks with me.
Nope.
When you were here last time.
Nope.
I thought we went.
We went to Logan Arcade.
Oh, okay. I thought we went to, like when you came up here by yourself, I thought we went to GameWorks.
Or Logan Hardware.
Because they have it at GameWorks. It's like a Dave & Buster's type place. It's like a 2-level thing.
Nope, that's the first time I played it. It was fun. I couldn't figure out how to power slide. I don't know if there is power sliding in it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can.
Brakes seemed useless, but there was a brake that you could use. Maybe that has something to do with how you power slide by using the brake, but I couldn't really figure out how to make it work.
Well, you can't jump in it.
You can't jump. Everything just looks a little off because it's not first party. So like the blocks that you get the power ups out of are more like
they're like hexagons,
flat hexagon coin things.
Yeah,
and then all the power ups are different.
They are. Well, there's different, and they tell you what they are. There's like the ones there's like the heat seeking ones, and then there's the ones that you throw down, and there's one that's like something where you hit somebody as they pass you. That's like one of them. I don't know. I think it's fun. I mean, I've played it quite a few times.
It's a completely different game.
It feels different. It feels different than most Mario Karts. I mean, you could say that for sure.
Right. That's what I really liked about it, was that it was an all new Mario Kart game.
And it has Pac-Man and the ghosts in there. So
yep, Pac-Man was in there.
They're part of it. And I think Miss Pac-Man's in there too.
Yep, she is. But what's fun about that game is it takes a picture of you and puts your face on the screen with the whatever, like the hat and maybe some facial features.
Well, it's a shame that they didn't have a multiplayer one, because that's like basically what it's for.
Right.
Like when you play, like if there's like 4 cars, it takes a picture of your face, so whenever you pass somebody, it shows your face above your car. So they know like that you got passed by whoever's playing. You know, it's the idea of it.
But it was a fun game. I played it for a good 20, 25 minutes. Also, it's comfortable to sit down and play those games because it feels like you're really in a car.
I actually didn't play it this time just because I've played it so many times that I don't know. I thought about it, but every time I went to it, somebody was in it, so I didn't get around to it. But I played it before. It's a lot of fun. I wish they would have had like a multiplayer one though. It's more fun if you're like actually racing people and not just the computer. But you can actually race each other.
Were there any other Nintendo ones you can think of off the top of your head?
F-Zero AX.
Oh yeah, F-Zero. We both played that one.
Yeah. There were a lot of games there that were on Nintendo systems. Like they had all the Mortal Kombats. Those were all on Nintendo. They had the Street Fighters. Those were on there.
Ghouls and Ghosts. And Ghosts and Goblins.
Ghosts and Goblins.
Ghosts and Goblins, I was a little disappointed.
Karnov.
You couldn't.
That was on NES.
Yeah, you couldn't go left in Ghosts and Goblins because the joystick was broken. So that kind of ruined the game.
The game's already hard enough. They have to make it so you can't go left also.
That's exactly it.
But yeah, we finally got to play F-Zero AX, the Japanese arcade. Which I had no idea it was that crazy, that it actually like tilted like as you raced.
Right, it has a seatbelt, and I recommend if you ever play this game, you put the seatbelt on because it'll tilt you a good, I'd say about 45 degrees.
I was like hanging on there. I was like, how do I go back?
Yeah.
And some of it didn't. Did you race the outer space level?
No.
Did you try that one? You should try that one because I felt like most of it was like from like I'm jerking from like side to side.
I really felt like that something was breaking underneath my chair is kind of what it felt like.
Oh yeah. No, it did.
Like something was wrong, but
yeah, whenever you like hit a car, it sounds like somebody's like beating the bottom of it with a bat or something like that.
But what I thought was cool, and you pointed this out to me, was that it had the port for a GameCube memory card.
Yeah, it did. No, they were cross compatible or whatever you want to call it. You could use it to unlock stuff on the GameCube game and vice versa. You could use your saves from the GX for the AX.
Were you able to use the AX saves on other AX machines?
I think so, yeah.
So you could take your record with you to different machines.
And I also noticed that there were racers in that game that weren't in the GX game. Like half of them were like new racers. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't.
But somebody data mined F-Zero GX, and the entire game of AX is in that game. Like you can actually unlock it through like a Game Genie, which is pretty crazy.
And it has an extension that you attach to your chair and it makes your chair tilt.
Yeah. Well, no, it doesn't do that, but it should. But yeah, that was really cool. Like I had never seen that or even thought that I'd ever see it. So I was pretty psyched to see it. It was very cool. And I played a game called Ikaruga that was on a Nintendo system. It was on a Nintendo GameCube.
GameCube, yeah.
Yeah. That was something I hadn't played in a while, but I played that. I mean, it still looks beautiful.
Talk about bullet hell. That's a bullet hell game.
Well, I remembered some of the stuff that I did. You know, I kind of remembered how to play it. Like, cause I would, you know, I had strategies that I would do to eat the bullets and all that, but it's still a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do like a sofa edition of that or something. It's
pretty mesmerizing to watch too.
It's very pretty.
It can kind of hypnotize you and makes it harder to play sometimes.
Yeah. Sure. That's kind of like how that, what was it? Darius Twin game that we played.
Well, we played a sequel to Darius Twin. It's called Darius something. It was definitely a Japanese
game. It was called like Cosmos Brothers or something like that. It had some sort of weird after thing on it.
But yeah, it was a Darius game, and it was a really, really cool cabinet. It was a sit-down cabinet that was enclosed, and up to 4 players could play. And the screen was like, I don't know, I'd say 3 HD TVs in a row pretty much.
I think, yeah, it looked like it was 2.
It was 3 because there was one big panel. So maybe it was 2, but it was one like big panel that the aspect ratio wasn't like a normal HD TV ratio.
Well,
the third one was a mirror, and the screen was down in the cabinet, and it was being reflected up onto the back because that was on the far right.
Oh yeah.
So they were using the mirror trick you'll see in a lot of old arcades to, I don't know why, maybe just it made it easier to fit it all in the housing of the arcade.
You know, you can get the original Darius Twin game on Virtual Console for Wii, for straight up Wii.
I have a feeling it's not going to be quite as impressive.
No, but I mean, it was a Super Nintendo game. The first one was Darius Twin. And you can get the Super Nintendo version of it.
But
this one's like Darius Twin 5000 or something, but.
Yeah. I don't think we mentioned that,
you can get the original one.
What's great about Galloping Ghost is you pay a flat fee, and from what I understand, what the guy told me, you're paying for the whole day, and that doesn't mean you have to stay there. We could have left and gone and done other things and come back with our ticket. So if you want to get the most out of a day at Galloping Ghost, get there when it opens, get a ticket, and either stay there all day or leave and do some other stuff and come back and play some more games.
Yeah, you can go eat and then come back. It was Darius Burst.
Darius Burst.
Yeah. There's a couple of them in here, though.
Fantastic music in that game, too.
Oh, yeah, it was very epic.
Probably the loudest of the arcades we played. Because it had speakers inside of the cabinet. You know, you're sitting there with a nice little surround sound setup. And
oh, don't forget that it had headphone jacks and volume control.
Yeah, there are headphone jacks in a lot of the Japanese arcades, I noticed. So that's just something they do over there, I guess, hasn't really caught on here. But I even saw a headphone jack on an older, I was playing an older, like flight sim. I can't remember what it was called. It reminded me a little bit of...
What was it like?
Afterburner, there we go. It reminded me a little bit of Afterburner. It was a little bit better graphically, but it was a big machine that I think at one time probably tilted similarly to the F-Zero machine, but that mechanism wasn't working anymore.
Oh, you
but
mean
it had a headphone jack on it.
The one that was behind the F-Zero machine?
Yeah.
I didn't get in that. I wanted to play that, but was it worth playing?
Yeah, I played it for a while. It had a little bit of voice in it. It would warn you of when a sharp turn was coming up. It was a fully 3D game, but in the overlaid sprite way that Afterburner was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Speaking of games that talked that you got into, I played Sinistar for a minute. You played that game?
I live.
Yeah. Beware, I live. Rah!
Sinistar is a genuinely scary game.
I like Sinistar. But this one was one that you had to like sit into, and it was like super low, so you're kind of like trapped in there. And then Sinistar was like, running around and chasing you and yelling at you. I like that game. I suck at it. I can never beat Sinistar, but I just think it's funny to hear him like talk to you and then chase you and eat you. Pretty much is what happens.
There were a lot of old arcade games with voice. I imagine there was a time where that was just the cutting edge thing to have vocal samples in.
Oh, sure. I mean, that was probably like their claim to fame at the time. The Sinistar was that it was like, that it would talk to you, and people probably did get freaked out about it.
Because the guy was looking right at you, the player, while he's talking.
He is. So what else did you play? There was so much stuff in there. We were split up for a while.
Crap. Not crap. I played so many great games. I played a Silent Hill game.
Yeah, I didn't get to play that one. There was too many people in it.
The way they had it set up was really cool. So you go in, and it's a big, I think it was like a projection screen TV. It was old enough that you weren't just getting a nice big HD TV. So the screen was a little faded. There was some burn in on it. But the way it was set up, you stood inside of like an enclosed area with all this dangling fabric hanging around to kind of...
Yeah, there was like a fan.
And then there was a fan blowing, and I thought it was pretty effective at creating the mood for that game, because that game has a lot of like, I don't know if I'd call it jump scares, but just a lot of stuff popping up from different sides.
Did it blow like different temperatures on you?
No, it was a real fan.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't part of the arcade, it was just a fan they had set up. But it did create, like, in my peripheral vision created, like, I kind of kept thinking maybe there was one of those things actually in there with me. What was really fun about that was using both of the guns at the same time, which
you can do there.
I should have done from the beginning, and I had been playing it for a good 5 or 10 minutes before I was like, well, no one else is here, I might as well grab this other gun.
Yeah, and it's all free play.
And I did, and became twice as much fun.
With it. Yeah.
I felt like Lara Croft. But it was great.
And then you hiked your pants up, like above your knees.
There was this other game to the right of that with what looked like a PlayStation Move controller.
Yeah, that game sucked. I played that game.
It was something where you had...
It was like a Castlevania knockoff, because you played as Vampire Killer and he had a whip.
Is that what it was?
That's what he was called. He was called Vampire Killer and he had a whip.
Oh, I thought you were like a wizard and that was your magic wand. Gee, that's how little I understood of what was happening.
No, you had a whip. Well, there were two different characters. You could play as a woman with a gun or a guy with a whip, but the guy with the whip was called Vampire Killer, and he looked exactly like Simon Belmont. And you would basically shake this wand in the air, and he would whip things. And it didn't really work very well. I played it
It seemed like the calibration was off.
I played it for like about a minute, and I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I don't know. The whipping was tedious.
That's what's so strange about paying a flat fee to play the games, though. Like, I would have never just walked away from an arcade while I was still playing it, no matter how much I disliked it. Yeah. You put money into an arcade, you're going to play it until you get the game over.
Sure. That was a cool thing, though. I mean, that's what you realize is like when I was playing Street Fighter the movie edition, I was like, I played a little bit.
That was the best game there.
It's basically like, it's kind of like, it's like if Mortal Kombat made Street Fighter or something is what it looks like, but like worse, where they have all the actors in there and it's just ridiculous.
Chun-Li never looked more ridiculous.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, you play.
So you're telling me you walked away from that game?
Yeah. Well, I played with it for a little bit, and I was like, I would like beat a guy with Bison, and I did his like Psycho Crusher a few times. I'm playing it, and I'm like, this game sucks, and I'm like, but what's cool? I don't have to play it anymore. I'll just leave. That's what I did with like Superman and the Batman Forever game. Also, I played it for like a second. I was like, not for me.
I played pretty far to the Silent Hill game, and then I decided to just walk away from it.
Yeah. I played through the Spider-Man game, played through all of that. That one was great.
That was a pretty cool game.
I got to fight like 10 Venoms at the end at once. This is a great ending.
That is a really interesting mechanic where at a certain point in the level it'll zoom out.
Yeah, I like that game. And then it turns into a shooter sort of.
Yeah. Scrolling shooter. Something like Contra maybe.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Like there's no other game that did that. And then it does like and then it'll zoom back in and you'll have like more of a Final Fight type stuff.
Beat 'em up.
But it was such a rare game, and I've only seen it in maybe like two places. Like the comic book store when I was a kid and Galloping Ghost. Like the only places I've seen that had that game. Like nobody. Like I've seen the Captain America one in a lot of places. I've seen the X-Men one like everywhere. But that Spider-Man one, I never see it anywhere. And it was a game I played when I was a teenager, so it was really nice to play it again. And I played through the Punisher game also, which I haven't played through before, but it was still fun. I mean, you get to walk around and shoot people. And there's blood in it. And it's made by Capcom, so like the graphics looks really nice. And the cabinet I was playing was real smooth. Like all the buttons worked really well. There were some cabinets that were really clean there. Like the Mortal Kombat ones were some of the cleanest, nicest cabinets I've played. But they have like Mortal Kombat competitions there, so I'm sure that's why they keep them in such good shape.
And there's definitely some games there where I would have had to ask one of the employees if they knew what the name of it was because it was a Japanese import game. I played one that was was a shooter from like the late 80s. I think it was from 88, where you're riding like a Pegasus, and it's sort of like Greek mythology theme to it. And that game was a lot of fun. It had a lot of really interesting what on the Super Nintendo was called Mode 7. So you would like zoom in. You would zoom in and out as to create the illusion of you getting closer to the ground and further from the ground at certain points. And I had to fight a giant Medusa head. That was cool.
Oh, that would have been fun. I wish I would have found that one.
And then you're trying to save some woman, it seems, and at one point you fly over this giant mirror and she's underneath and she starts talking to you, but I don't know what she says because it's all Japanese, but she's crying, so I take it she's still trapped and I didn't actually save her after the first level. And the game over screen, when I ask you if you want to continue or not, she's there, and if you choose no, she starts crying.
Oh, weird. No pressure to play more there. She just keeps crying louder and louder until you put a quarter in.
These arcade machines are definitely, a lot more modified, and they'd have to be to create the free play mode, because I don't think all arcades have that built into them.
I think it's just like a switch, like a dip switch thing that you just make it free play, but some of them have like buttons that you push to add credits.
Well, and there was one machine I was playing, and I wish I could remember what it was. It was another shooter. There were a lot of shooters.
Yeah, there's like a whole room of shooters.
This one was a lot of fun, though. It was from 1996. I do remember that. But it's a shooter where you have like a whole like squadron of other ships helping you while you're fighting, and just crazy power-ups where you're filling up the whole screen with bullets and you're fighting all these tanks and stuff. But I thought I couldn't figure out how to continue with the free play mode, and I hit the switch down at the bottom, and it switched to another game. And I was like, oh crap.
While you're playing it?
I was like, crap, I didn't mean to like cancel my game. I wanted to keep playing that game. So I hit the switch again, and it hadn't even canceled the game. It was just like, It was like if you switched the AV signal on your television, pretty much.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, I don't know what exactly they had going on with that arcade, but it didn't even have there wasn't even a frame around the screen. It was just, the screen was just kind of like laying in the cabinet. But it was a fun game. I played it for a good 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, I saw some of those that had had the screen like on the bottom. It's interesting. I'm trying to think of what else I played.
I played a little bit of, there was only one pinball machine up and running.
Funhouse.
And Funhouse, and that's creepy as shit because it has like a ventriloquist dummy head talking to you.
Oh, and it was kind of dark too.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like some of the lights were out, so it was really, really creepy and dark.
But there was one point where the ball went down the side, you know how it happens in pinball, like it goes over to the side and you can't do anything about it, you lose the ball. And the thing looked at me and said, "That makes me very unhappy." And I stopped playing after that. That was enough of that game.
Didn't like it talking to you.
I didn't play very many beat 'em ups. I really only played the Spider-Man game with you for a little while. I tried playing a Spawn game at the same time I was playing that, but that didn't go so well.
That game looked awful.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was a boss rush game.
Oh, weird.
So it was actually boss rush.
From watching you play it didn't look like you could really tell what was going on.
No, I was running around looking for just a boss within a level, and then I had to kill him and then do something else in the level before time ran out. And it was really hard to do that while I was simultaneously playing another arcade game, so I gave up on it.
Yeah, I played Judge Dredd for a minute too. Kind of like that Spawn game. It wasn't very good. It was made by Midway though, and there was a secret appearance of Goro in there, so I thought that was like the best part of the whole thing. Like the very beginning of the game, it's like a guy walking a miniature Goro across the screen. like the little claymation, because they did the same thing, like where it's all like, it's all like motion capture. Well, old motion capture where they just took pictures. I don't know if you noticed above the Mortal Kombat cabinets, but they had signed pictures of all of the actors who were in the Mortal Kombat games.
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they had like lines of all of them. They were all autographed.
So they probably had an event there at some point.
Like even all the way up to like Quan Chi, you know, they even had him. Which he wasn't even, he had, like, the guy who played him was only in, like, Mortal Kombat Mythologies.
But they still had.
Like the actual, where there was an actual actor, because he was Polygon most of the time, because Quan Chi didn't come around until Mortal Kombat 4. But I played that. I played Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, and 4. You rarely ever see Mortal Kombat 1 cabinets, so.
It was really nice too. They had them all lined up
I was fine
in a
with
row,
playing that,
so you could just hop from one of the.
Yeah, just 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Same with the Street Fighter arcade.
I went I went from 2 to 1 to 4 to 3. What I did. So I went out for it. And they had like Killer Instinct 1 and Killer Instinct 2. Like after that, I didn't play either of those.
There was Primal Rage 2.
I played enough of those. Yeah, there were a couple Primal Rages. Like all I played was the first one. So that other one.
There's a lot of shooters and a lot of fighting games.
They had War Gods. You remember that game? It's a 64 game.
No.
It was a Midway 64 fighter. It's like sort of a 3D Mortal Kombat kind of. It was an early 64 fighter, but they had the arcade version of that, which was pretty hilarious.
They had some kind of Sonic game that looked a little bit like Sonic 3D Blast, and it had a different character in it, and it looked like a total bootleg sort of thing. But it said it was an official Sega game on it, and one of the things that made it seem especially fake was it said, "Now with more blast processing" on the top. And it was this extra character that hasn't been in any other Sonic game was in it, and I can't even remember who it was. I didn't play it, I just watched the demo for a second.
Oh. Was it Blaze the Cat? Because he was in Adventure.
It
wasn't Amy.
It was like a different hedgehog or something.
Shadow?
No, it wasn't Shadow. It was a character that has not been in any other Sonic game as far as I can tell. There's been some weird ones in the 3D Sonic games, but
I heard that new one's good. The newest one, like the 3DS one, the Sonic Fire and Ice, whatever the new one that's come out for Nintendo is supposed to be good.
Cool.
Believe it or not.
Well, the handheld Sonic games tend to be the best.
IGN gave it like a 7.5, which is still a good score, I think. I mean, for a Sonic game, since they mostly get like 4s and 5s, I think.
I was pretty
I didn't really
excited when I saw Dragon's Lair, because that's a game that has a bit of, for me, like I guess, some personal nostalgia because my dad used to play it all the time when I was younger, and claims he was one of the first people to beat it, most likely because he beat it within a couple of weeks of it being in arcades. But something was going on with that game. I think the laser disc was messed up in it because there was nothing consistent about it. You would start the level out, and all of a sudden you would start the game, and all of a sudden you would be in some random scene within the game. Like either you'd be swinging across a rope, or you'd be in a room drinking the potion, but you never actually were like entering the castle and all that.
So it was like more ridiculously hard to control than the game is anyway.
It was pretty much impossible, and it was really skippy too. You know? It was like watching a DVD that was all scratched.
The game's already really hard to control, I think. So what if it's skipping all over the place too? Then that just makes it completely impossible.
There were two other of those Laserdisc machines there. They had the second Dragon's Lair, and they had Space Ace, but neither game was on. So most likely they were experiencing technical difficulties with those as well.
For sure. Yeah, it didn't look like they were on. Like I walked past them and I didn't see anything.
I was still pretty happy to see that game there though. Just had a chance to play it for a second and sort of get a feel for what it would have been like to play that in the arcade back in the day. Oh, what did they have?
For sure.
They had, what's that game called? Those Sega games from the late 80s that were like, they had the fake 3D, like it was a disc and it was like live action acting and you know those games I'm talking about?
The hologram ones?
The hologram ones, uh-huh.
Yeah, I used to play those. There was a mall in Bloomington that I used to go to, and they had an arcade there called Tilt, and I used to play those games in there. I played the time traveling one a bunch, where you have to like turn and shoot whoever or dodge whatever. It's like a weird game, and I played that one, and I played the fighting one also. But I just kind of played it like as a nostalgia thing, just because I remember playing it. But they're kind of like Dragon's Lair a little bit, where like the controls really goofy, and you just have to like do one specific thing at one time that you can't do it another time.
And even though it's not animation, weird. It's still like the same as animation because it's live video.
Yeah, it's live action stuff, and you're like a cowboy, and you go to these different times. Like I made it through the first area. I beat the western area. And then I went to the future and got killed by some miniature monkey or purple gas or something like that.
Every time you mess up this wizard guy comes out, this super over animated guy, like just kind of like wiggling all over the place while he's talking at you.
Yeah.
And he just says something along the lines of, "Well, why'd you do it that way? You should have turned around before you shot your gun."
Yeah. And there's also a skull. It also shows a skull like before you get killed.
Right.
It shows this weird like person in a skull mask.
Pretty much
it like makes a face at you before you get killed.
I consider it like the failure animation. You know you messed up, and then you find out afterwards, how you're going to die. Usually you get shot, but some people stab you.
Well, in the future you were getting possessed by like purple gas and stuff like that. But still, yeah, that's a weird game. And honestly, like looking at it, kind of like gave me a headache. With the 3D-ness of it and like the hologram.
It wasn't very bright either. And I don't know if that was just because
it was weird.
Old, or maybe it was always kind of...
And it was flickering too, so it's kind of like, I don't know. It kind of hurt my eyes.
The newest arcade they had, or rather the one they had acquired most recently, it wasn't the newest.
Thief?
Was called Thief. I played a little bit of that. It was definitely a Pac-Man clone, but it had...
But it's an old game, right? It's obviously not a new game.
Oh yeah, I think it was from maybe 1980 or 1981. It had speech in it. It was really hard to hear. If you saw me playing it, you might have saw I had my head pushed way.
Dude, it was like
well, what you're a thief evading the cops, and they're talking to each other. So you're hearing like, "Look out! He's going this way. He's doing this. Suspect is over here doing this." So it's kind of got a cool, almost Grand Theft Auto feel to it. But if Grand Theft Auto were in the world of the original Pac-Man. So when you you're going around grabbing dots on roads with cars chasing you, and then when you grab a money sign, the cops become vulnerable and you can destroy them, just like the Ghost.
For sure.
But it was still kind of fun. I played it once.
Totally.
I played Missile Command.
Did you beat Mike Awesome's score?
No, I did not.
They were Mike Awesome, the guy who said he don't get jumpified or whatever.
Don't get chumpified. He's
Called
the one.
Himself a specimen.
He's the one that helped Steve Wiebe get the controversial arcade board.
Yeah, he said he supposedly had a high score in Missile Command that nobody ever respected or ever put into the Twin Galaxies.
The Missile Command arcade was very strange. It was a really small machine. It was probably about the size of maybe one of those old fortune teller machines. Probably about 4 feet tall, and then it was screen. You had to look down at the screen, and then there was basically a shade that went over the top of it. Very strange the way it was set up, but it was fun. It had a trackball. I like games with trackballs. Trackballs are fun.
Yeah, I didn't find anything.
And then 3 buttons to control each, one for each area of the map where you're firing your gun from. So that was fun. I played that one for a while. There's so many games, it's hard to keep track of everything I played. There was a Bonk's Adventure, and it was the Bonk's.
I tried that one too. That one was really confusing.
I think it was actually called like Bonk Arcade Edition or something.
Yeah.
It was a completely different Bonk game. Like,
it didn't play like the regular Bonk. And you didn't have the turbo button either. Like from
Were
the
there-
Turbo 16.
were there sports balls in the original Bonk? I don't remember that being a thing.
It might have been. I don't know.
Each level has,
I only played the first
even the
one.
boss levels have you find a sports ball at some point in, baseball or basketball or football at some point during the level, and then you gotta try to keep it to the end, and then when you get to the end, if it's a basketball, it'll be a basketball hoop, or if it's a football, it'll look kind of like a goal post.
Yeah, and
you
you'll
have
be
to
able to score or
get the ball
something at
through
the
it
end.
to get bonus points. The boss I fought was kind of fun. The graphics are very charming. It looked really good. It looked like a late release Sega game maybe. It was a Turbo Graphics game, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You could select whatever level you wanted to play, and every time you beat, I think 3 levels, you could fight up any boss you picked. So it gave you freedom to get through all the levels in whatever order you wanted to, which I thought was pretty cool. That's something I hadn't seen
I believe there
in
was
an arcade before.
I believe there was a Bonk release for NES. Like it's a TurboGrafx, their mascot, but there was one that was released for NES.
There's some other mechanic too where there were like these happy face balls that were attaching your head.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that too. That was weird.
Didn't really understand what was happening there. I think they might have kind of acted as like a shield maybe. Like maybe they were like body armor, so if you got hit, it would take one of them away. That's kind of sort of what I think was happening with it. But then if you did like, the bonk move where you go head first down to smash something, then you would lose all of them. So you had to be careful with it.
It was really strange. It was a really strange game.
There are a lot of vector-based games, Missile Command being one of them.
Yeah, there was some like spiderweb game right next to that. Like to the right of it that was vector-based.
Yep.
Did you play that?
Where you're actually some kind of robot spider
Yeah.
in your web trying to defend it, I think.
And Tempest was there. I played that. The one where you like move around on the outside.
Yep.
Shoot stuff. Yeah.
And there's a really old one from 1980 called Red Baron. I played a little
I saw
bit
that
of it.
one, yeah.
That one was super archaic.
Yeah.
And how it worked. Like, you didn't even have a sight for your bullets. It was just kind of like a salt and pepper smattering on the screen that kind of implied that you were shooting.
Sure.
And even stranger that it was supposed to be Red Baron, like, World War I style.
Yeah, I thought it kind of looked like that.
In vector.
I thought it kind of looked like that new Vector game that they have, which we've seen before. Like somebody actually made a new one. I forget what it's called, but it looks similar to that Red Baron game.
I always like to play the vector games because I'm fascinated and I don't really understand how that graphical technology works. But
Did you play Star Wars? They had Star Wars there.
They did?
Star Wars
I didn't
arcade.
see it.
Yeah. It was like in that room on the other side of where the Silent Hill was and all that.
Oh, okay. Nope, I didn't see it.
They actually had the Return of the Jedi arcade also, which isn't Vector. Empire Strikes Back is Vector and the original one's Vector. But the Return one is like an isometric thing, which is sprite-based, which is weird because it's so much different from all the other ones. But they had that one also.
I played a game called, I believe it's called Angry Planet, if that's what it's called. I played it, I think it's at the Logan Hardware also, but.
Oh yeah, the one where you're a planet and you move around.
Well, and you're fighting other planets that have moons and they're pissed off. They all look like Earth with like 4 red moons spinning around it and they're trying to attack you. And
I think that's how you play that one.
That one's fun.
Yeah.
The controls are really interesting because you have a joystick to move around the screen and then you have like this thing that rotate, like an actual knob that you rotate to spin your ship around as you're moving to fire in the direction you want to fire.
For sure.
So that's one thing I really love about arcades is all the,
all the crazy different stuff.
What you could call gimmicky controls if it was made for console.
Did you play the Exterminator game? Did you find that?
No.
Where you control a giant hand and you're swatting wasps in the air? I found that game.
No, that sounds like Mario Paint.
Yeah, kind of, except it didn't. It was so weird. Like there was a button to like slam your fist to the ground, and you're basically you have a joystick that you're moving this big giant hand around in this room, and there's all these like wasps and like mosquitoes and stuff that you're trying to kill. And if you hit a button on the joystick, the hand like clenches, like it's gonna catch the bug. So you go around like trying to catch bugs. and I got stung by a wasp. It was like such a strange game.
Ow.
But it was all like kind of mode 70, with these like floating hands, and you could like, it had two controllers, so you could turn them both on and have two hands floating around and smacking bees out of the air. It was weird. It was back in that room by Bonk. It was like on the other side of Bonk. But I played that for a minute. There's that Beavis and Butthead game.
I had no idea what was going on with that game.
Which I think was like released later. It was like they made it before and it like just got released. That one was at the Retro Gaming Expo. So I had a little bit of experience with that one. But yeah, that game was weird also. I played it for a while. I don't know. I played some gun games. I played Terminator. I played the Terminator game for a minute, which that was on Super Nintendo too.
There were a couple of strange ones that we couldn't really figure out what was going on with. One you played, that Metal Gear game.
Yeah,
it was called Metal Gear Arcade.
It was called Metal Gear Arcade, and I couldn't figure out that there was a joystick on the gun. So I basically sat in one spot for like 10 minutes and just shot people as they came to me. Well, I think I ended up winning, but it's a bizarre game.
It's got a lot of options and a lot of menus you navigate to get to the level, and it's all in Japanese, so it makes no sense. You don't know what you're doing. Also, there's some kind of headset with a microphone
that was broken.
That was broken, but I think you're probably supposed to be able to like speak to your other team members or something.
Yeah, I wondered. I was like, do I need to put this headset on and like move my head, and that'll move me?
It also looked like there was some kind of 3D effect. Like there was probably at some point
maybe there were
3D
shades,
glasses, yeah, because you could put it into 3D mode and then it would get blurry. Like if you took your glasses off at a 3D movie, it looked exactly like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That one was strange. It looked really good, and like it was a premium cabinet. So that one and the Silent Hill one both had like metal keypads on it that I imagine were to put in a code if you were saving your progress or something.
Oh yeah, no, I did see the metal, and I messed with the metal keypad because I was trying to figure out how to move.
There was another game. It was Left 4 Dead, so most people know what that is. That's a Valve game.
But it had a mouse, right?
It had a mouse, and it had this weird like joystick controller. But once again, it was all in Japanese, strangely enough, because it's a U.S. developed game originally. I guess don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's at least it's made. It's a Western developed game at least. I will say
it's
that.
Valve. I mean, Valve made it. The same guys.
But
Half-Life.
Tons of menus, and I couldn't even get to the actual gameplay because I would go through all the menus and I would get to the final thing where I thought I was supposed to select what I was supposed to do to start playing, and this clock would appear and it would just tick down. Nothing would allow me to click it, and then when the time ran out, it would go back to the title screen. So I couldn't even get that game to work.
Jeez.
But I sat down with it thinking, hey, I'm going to play some Left 4 Dead. I've never actually played this game before, and experienced this weird arcade with a mouse.
Yeah, I mean,
so strange. An actual mouse, like a gaming mouse, like, something you would see like a serious like PC gamer would have with like all the weird buttons on the side and everything.
Yeah, I mean, the actual Left 4 Dead game is pretty good, but I don't know how that one works. I guess it would be like playing it on PC, sort of, but the game that I played of Left 4 Dead is pretty straightforward. Like, there's not really a whole lot. You just kind of start the game. You don't have to go through a lot of menus, so I don't know why they put all that stuff in there. But, yeah, we were there for like 4 or 5 hours, and I feel like I only played like 10% of the games that were there. Definitely like to go back and try to dedicate more time to the other ones.
Yeah, when I first walked in, I kind of took I put my phone up in the air and took like a picture of everything just inside of the entrance, thinking that this huge wall of arcades was all that they had, and it was already very impressive, but that was only like maybe half of what they had total in the whole building in that main room. But when I was looking at the picture later, I saw Altered Beast, and I was a little disappointed I didn't play Altered Beast.
Yeah, I didn't even see Altered Beast. I didn't even see it anywhere.
Well, it was there, and it's possible maybe that it was off, because there were a lot of random arcades that just probably were down for repair. One game I played that I wasn't able to really play it growing up when I saw it, Silent Scope games. If I remember correctly, those were like 75-cent games.
Yeah, they were expensive. They were like $1. A lot of them were.
So I never really played it. I watched other people play it, but you couldn't really get the same experience watching because of the way that unique controller that's on that. Because there's like if you've ever played this game, it's got like a screen within the thing that you aim.
Yeah, you play through the scope. Hence the name, Silent Scope.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet. But, that game's fun. I played it for a little while.
Yeah.
Shot some Men in Black.
Yeah. Yeah, so they had like Area 51 there. I played that one. There were some people playing House of the Dead, so I didn't get to play that one, but I've played like dual gun there before, since everything's free play, so you can just go crazy and just be like, just shooting everybody.
Gotta love the dual guns, man.
There was they had a Resident Evil game there, like the Japanese one, the Biohazard, but it didn't work. I tried to play it a couple times, but I couldn't get it to work. That one looked fun. It was like a light gun type thing. Probably not like the Umbrella Chronicles or anything like that, but still it could have been. I don't know. Who knows?
Tapper was there. I didn't play Tapper, but Jeff played that a little bit.
I didn't play Tapper either, but I've played Tapper many times.
Played Tapper.
So I didn't think I needed to. I tried to play stuff that they have that nobody else has, you know. So I was trying to stay away from stuff that I could play at other places. I guess that's why I didn't play Mario Kart. And I just didn't get around to it. But I played it a bunch.
There was a Paperboy game that had a very strange controller. I'm trying to remember.
Was it a bike?
Yeah, I think it actually was. It was like a bike.
It was a whole bike, but you had to control it with the tires.
No, there were no tires, but it was just kind of like bike handlebars, I think, sort of like miniature bike handlebars were the controls, if I remember correctly.
With a miniature horn.
Oh, there's a little miniature beep beep. Galloping Ghost, nearly 500 arcades under one roof. And according to Google, when I looked at it today earlier, largest arcade in the U.S. So that's kind of cool. We were at the largest arcade in the U.S. and we didn't even know it.
Yeah, well, I knew it was big. I didn't know it was the largest one.
At least most games under one roof, I think, is kind of what they're implying. Like most classic
per capita arcades, or whatever.
Yeah, because surely there's larger floor plan arcades elsewhere.
Probably. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, these games are really packed in there. I mean, they were maximizing every available interest space they had, and had some strategic spots left where there were little aisles that you could walk through.
Yeah, it was very mazy. And a lot of them, there was not a whole lot of space in between you and the
next machine. In
between the two arcades, or the arcade and the wall. Like when I played Mortal Kombat 1, I had to like really skinny my way in there. Like really not much space at all.
Also, I mean, if you saw someone playing an arcade, it kind of had that, kind of like if you go into the bathroom and you're not supposed to use the urinal next to someone else if there's more urinals free. Kind of felt like that with the arcades. Like, I'd see someone playing an arcade and I wouldn't want to be that person to walk and start playing the arcade directly next to them. And then there'd be this huge line of no arcades being played, and then you choose to play the one right next to them. So I found myself like subconsciously avoiding arcades that were right next to people.
I did that. I played the whip game right next to the people that were playing Silent Hill.
Oh yeah.
Because I kind of wanted to see what was going on in the Silent Hill one, so I just went there and, whipped the nay-nay and all that. While I was in there. So,
I do wish there would have been music. There were no music games.
Yeah, there wasn't really any.
But I guess most of the arcades were from, mid-90s and before, so. You didn't really get
there was newer stuff. I was really impressed to see the F-Zero game there. Like I said, it's from the 2000s. I always thought that one would be too new, but it's so cool that they had it. Didn't think I'd ever see it. That one was completely in Japanese too. So it's like trying to like show you what to do, and it like shows like the step, and it like points to it, and it's all Japanese. I don't know if it means like don't touch that or don't try to step off while you're playing. I don't know. I have the amiibo here, the completely side thing. Have the Animal Crossing KK here. We do another live unboxing.
Let's do another unboxing.
Got a KK on his fucking stump. Well, we always do unboxings every time we're doing these live ones, or these Word Together ones. So here we go.
Listen to that 3-pack ripping open. Oh, you can hear that. You can hear the cardboard separating from the plastic. Okay, it's done.
Listen to it.
I can hear it and see it.
Now I have 3 more amiibos that I don't know what to do with. Or amiibo. It's amiibo.
Well, let's be honest. Only one of those really matters.
Not Cyrus and Reese?
Yeah, I don't even know what they do. Are they the ones that make clothes?
They're the resale shop in New Leaf. In the recycle shop or whatever. They where they pay you more. And this guy, Cyrus, he's the one, he alters furniture for you.
Oh.
If you find a specific type of furniture, he can like change the pattern on it. And she's the one who she'll like sell stuff for you. But they'll pay more for certain things, if they're wanting it. But KK's the coolest.
Wow, these have some actual like sharp edges on them. He
sees the shit with his little guitar.
Feel his ears, those are sharp. Doesn't seem safe for a child.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh look, right in the eye.
Those are stabby amiibo.
Oh yeah, this could probably cut you. You hear that? That's sharp.
That's the sound of sharpness.
Sharp. It's going through the mic.
So you got the good mic. You can hear sharpness.
Yes, it hears sharpness. So what do we got coming up after this? Like, what's Paper Mario Color Splash is only a week away.
Yeah. And if you,
there were some people who actually apparently got it early, which I
I was trying to remember if we had talked about that. I don't think we've talked about it.
We didn't talk about it because it just happened a few days ago.
Yeah, if you had downloaded the game, the preloaded version, so that you could play it as soon as it became available, someone at Nintendo goofed, and I don't know how. I think one of the theories is that it was for developers maybe, review copies. There we go. It was maybe for reviewers, but it became available to play early for anyone who had it preloaded. So there's some people out there that are already playing this game.
I figured it was just a glitch in the system. That it just got released too early, it just okayed it, way before it should have been okayed. That's crazy though. But yeah, it's around the corner. It's a week from this Friday, so it's a week from this for a couple days from today. And
I have a feeling we'll be talking about it a little bit. I plan on getting it. I don't know if you plan.
You plan on getting it? I'm still undecided on it.
You're on the fence.
I think it looks really pretty. I mean, I'll probably end up getting it, but I don't know. Sticker Star really burned me, so. I'm very hesitant on it.
Well, it's the last big Wii release other than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So let's hope that
Ukulele. Yeah, you got Ukulele still.
They're saying Q1 of 2017 it may come out. It may come out for the Wii U, but I don't know. There's going to be a lot going on by the time Ukulele shows up, if things go according to what Nintendo's saying.
Well, they did say that they weren't making an NX version.
Yeah, so they were not developing one.
Yeah, they probably wanted it to actually be a real system before they put games on it. They wanted to actually see some stuff about it. There was some other, I don't know, there was some other meeting that's happening that people think is something. I don't think it's anything. We'll
a floor of the Nintendo headquarters in New York City.
Yeah. It's
completely rented off for...
I doubt that would be it. It's probably... The thing is we're probably just not going to hear anything ever about it again. And we're just gonna kill ourselves with boredom from not knowing it. I don't know. We're just gonna all go crazy because we won't know what it is.
We're gonna know who our next president is before we know anything about the amiibo, unfortunately, I think. Or the amiibos. Yeah,
I think Nintendo's waiting that. I think Nintendo's waiting that out before they announce the NX. They want to see who wins. It's well, if this person wins, we're probably not gonna drop it. But if they do, then maybe we will. We're waiting to see the outcome because they may just flee the planet.
I did read that production had begun on them. But that's just another internet rumor based on Foxconn.
Anybody could say the production had begun on it.
Well, Foxconn leaks a lot of stuff leaks out of Foxconn, and that's one of the facilities that's making NXs. So we're probably going to hear something from them. We already kind of have that they've started getting them ready. I don't know how. I know with games and stuff you can manufacture them a little later. A little closer to release date, but I imagine with hardware you gotta get that going several months in advance.
Oh, sure, yeah. I don't know. Hoping we know. Maybe that'll be our Christmas gift from Nintendo. We'll be
here's some news.
Here, we're releasing this. When we're all playing those NES classics.
Right, and those are supposed to be coming out, in a month, a little over a month.
Yeah, they still haven't gone on pre-sale yet.
Nope.
I don't know. I guess maybe they will in November. I'm gonna buy so many of those.
Yeah, you're going to buy gifts.
I was going to buy 4 of them, yeah. That was my plan.
I'm going to buy 2.
If I can. I was going to get one for each family for Christmas, for all of my siblings' families.
Get them playing them classic games.
Yeah, which, I think some of them listen to this, so they probably already know. Sorry, now you know what you're getting.
Dope! Well, I know for a fact my mom doesn't listen to this. She's the one I wanted to buy.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I guess that's it for this one. This episode in particular. This week. I've been your host, Trey Johnson.
Jeremy Mikowski.
And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. to be with you. Darius Burst Arcade.